What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing. Tonight, we are going to start to take a bite out of the huge elephant. What is that elephant? That is actually Lake Eufaula up in Oklahoma. This thing is massive. We broke it down per your request, and now it's time to start doing the videos for it. Let's start tonight by the first Google Earth video. We'll talk a little bit about what we found on the Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation site. And then after that, it's time to jump in, see what we found in the lake. Let's go. Normally, we would start off on the Texas Park and Wildlife page, but today we're actually going to start on the Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation page because we are looking at Lake Eufaula. So let's go ahead and just zoom down here a little bit. There's not a ton on this page. It's definitely not as much information as you find on the Texas Park and Wildlife page, but still have some pretty good stuff going along down here. It does tell you the location details, where it's located at. It's in the McIntosh, Okmulgee, Pittsburgh, and Haskell counties. You can see here the surface area acres, 105,000 acres. That's just nuts. Also, I think the shoreline length, 833.9 miles. This thing is just really, really big. If you move down here, talks about some stuff, but I didn't really see anything too major to point out to you guys, except for this area here where it talks about the lake history. You definitely want to read up on that. And then it also talks about how the reservoir strain smallmouth bass was first stocked in the lake in 92, and stockings have continued until 1998. It also says it's an excellent crappie, white bass, and catfish fishery. And somewhere else I was reading, it says that they do still stock the largemouth bass here. And if you look for fish species of interest, they have white crappie and black crappie, smallmouth and largemouth bass, as well as white bass, flathead, blue, and channel catfish, bluegill sunfish, green sunfish, spotted bass, and last but not least, reddy or sunfish. So you've got a lot of opportunities here to catch some fish. Definitely a good lake to go check out. Let's go ahead and switch over. We're going to go over to the Google Earth side and see what we can find over there. All right, well, here we are on Lake Eufaula. This one is going to definitely take us some time. Now, what we've done is we've broken this lake down by 3 different sections. So if you look over here on the left-hand side, you've got Eufaula East, you've got Eufaula Northwest. So that's going to be anything on the west side of 69 and north of that intersection that's just right down here, this 9A. So it's going to be north of that, basically north of what they call the, I guess, just north once the triangle starts. So anything north of the triangle will be on the northwest side. And then we also have Eufaula South, which I'm still working on. It's down here, and that will cover the south end. So tonight what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about the Eufaula East. And let's look over here at the left-hand side really quick, talk to you about what's out here. There's a lot of waypoints on this lake. This lake is massive, so you can imagine you've got to break it down into these sections. So let's just look at the ramps that are in this area. So I'm going to zoom this back. And we're just going to take a look at it really quick. So since we're just focusing on this area right here, quite a few ramps that are out there. So I've got all of those marked for you. We've also got bridges and culverts. So lots of different roads and things that run underneath this lake. So lots of good underwater cover. You've got some structure and cover that's out here as well. So that's going to be your humps, your flats, your laydowns, your ponds, pretty much any type of thing that we could find using the mapping. We've got a lot of offshore stuff out here on this lake. This is definitely going to be a really good offshore lake. So we've got a lot of good spots marked for you there as well to check out. And then channels, we always talk about the channels and the ditches. Not a lot of major creek channels on this one that we could follow in this area, but we do have several different little areas where we've got some pretty decent little creek channels that come through, and so we've got all of those marked for you. So even if you couldn't get up in those creek channels, the nice thing is you could just take a quick look at this lake. You know exactly where those arteries are that are coming in with that fresh water. So definitely always, those are always good to fish around. Then we've also got the Oklahoma I almost said Oklahoma, Texas Park and Wildlife, the Oklahoma wildlife fishing structures that are out here as well. So we've got these added in too. Some of these coordinates are kind of weird, so I'm not sure if they're exactly right, but I went ahead and just imported them in so you guys could have those. Those are going to be brush piles, PVC areas, all that good stuff. Then we've got a lot of rock on this lake. So what we've done is we really just honed in on the key areas, like key rock structures. Maybe it's rock, the only rock on the big old flat or something like that. So we've keyed in on a lot of that. So I think you'll see a ton of good stuff as we move through there. And then last but not least, we have a lot of roads as well that were out there. So you'll be able to see those. That's going to be these little red tracks that you see here. And so we'll talk about those as well as we go through. Now, there were a lot of underwater roads that we had marked originally, and I took those out only because they were really taking over how many waypoints we could have onto the graph. So we had to limit it a little bit. But there's definitely some like underwater road beds right in here in this area. Of course, we'll mark some of that stuff with the offshore stuff, but just know like when we mark with an offshore spot of a roadbed or a culvert, especially if you see a culvert, that means there is a roadbed very nearby. And so you want to make sure you do all of your scanning, but that's probably already do that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's select Eufaula East again. Let's pull this back. All right, what we're going to do is we've already moved the date down to 2018, so I'm just going to move this over. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start knocking this thing out and see what we can find here. So as always, we start up here at the dam, and then we work our way east or north, whichever way it takes us. And then we're going to go all the way around, make a huge circle until we end back right here at these offshore hotspots. So let's zoom in here down by the dam. Now, obviously, when you get down by the dam, the water's not going to come down as much. This is one of the deeper areas, but you do have some pretty good spots right here, just really good deeper areas, access to deep water, some really good, you could call them offshore or rock. So kind of have both here, but you got a little rock point that comes out right in here. And then you've got some really good rock going all the way around here off the edge of this point. So I can see that being a good spot. Also moving up here, we're going to move in here to this pocket. We've just got some rock to look at. Pretty good little offshore spot there. When the water comes up, you've got a nice little creek channel swing, and right in there would be a good place to set up. You've also got some more rock that's over here. Could be offshore depending on how far the water comes up. You definitely want to set out here and just kind of cast towards that and kind of see what you can get. Then we're going to move up. We're going to go on around this little bank line here. And really just not seeing too much, just scattered rock. This is a nice little rock coming right off of this point. We got a good little offshore spot right here that we'll talk about. I'm actually going to take that offshore stuff off because it's going to confuse us because we can't tell what's there. So we'll come back and we'll actually have videos for that. We're going to use the Navionics mobile app to do that, and we'll show all of those waypoints. And before I get any further as well, make sure to go out and check out my site, simplisticfishing.com. You can pick up all of these waypoints, get them imported onto an SD card, and then put them right there on your graph. And you'll have them when you're out there fishing. It'll really make it easier to hone in on, breaking down the lake and figuring out what you want to fish. So we're going to move on a little bit further up. A lot of areas in here that have rocks. So we'll just kind of go through them really quick. But you can see here, you got a lot of sandy dirt and stuff like that, but you have these areas where you've got this pretty good rock. So right in here is a good area. You've also got some good areas that are up in here as well. If I zoom in here, you'll see that we've got some pretty good rock coming off the edge of that point. It's just kind of scattered. Then moving on up, we've got another little shelf that's right in here with a pretty good rock. Now imagine, that this is when the water's really down, but if we go up, when the water's up, this is actually a mud creek and it looks muddy. You can tell that rock is actually pretty far off the shoreline. So let's go back to 2018 so we can see that again. And I'm going to pull this back a little bit just so I can show you guys where I'm at so I don't lose you here. Went to the dam, and now we're coming right up the side of this pocket. All right, so let's zoom back in here. We talked about that rock being right there, right? That nice little rock ledge. You got some pretty decent rock right here as well. And then if I zoom out, we're going to kind of see the same thing as we go up here, just scattered rock. And notice the reason why we mark these is because this is all like sandy and dirty and, just your typical Oklahoma stuff. But you've got these scattered areas of rock piles. There's another one right there as well. Here's some pretty good chunk of rock right here too. And it looks like there's quite a bit of it down in here as well. So this looks like maybe the dock owners might have put it there. But all good stuff. Come up here when you get a little bit further up and you get over here into, I thought it was Mud Creek, but it says Bixby Creek. I did not realize, looks like I went back here and marked some stuff. I don't know if you can actually get through here. Doesn't look like you can. I seriously doubt you want to take your boat through there. But this area right in here, we didn't mark it, but this could be a good area right here too, where you've got the rock, and you've got the flow coming from out of here. That could be really, really, really good. We did mark some stuff up here, but not sure why, so I'm going to delete that out. And this creek too. I mean, we've got the creek here, but we really don't need it because we can't get to it. So I'll be removing that one as well, so you guys don't have to have that on your graphs. So then let's keep moving this down, and let's see what else we can find. Pretty good rock piles here. We got a good rock pile right in here, some right in here, some more right in here. I love how they're scattered, because when they're scattered like that, that just makes them a lot higher percentage, right? If it was just, this was just all rock, then yeah, it's pretty tough. There's fish there, but you don't know where they're at. Here, you can hone in pretty quickly because there's only 4 or 5 different spots where the rock is, and we've got all those spots marked for you right there. So some pretty good stuff back in there. Now coming out of this creek, Bixby Creek or Mud Creek or whatever. I think the last one actually down below was the Mud Creek one. And this must be the Bixby Creek. So then we're moving out here. We've got some pretty good rock coming right off the edge of this point. You can see it right here, and there might even be some stuff even farther out. Like you can see how dark it is. So I would treat this more like an offshore spot probably. Start out here, cast it in, see if you can find anything, and then slowly just kind of work your way in, or work it up from the sides. So come over here and fish it this way from the sides. Really would depend on the wind and things like that, but that looks like a really good point to be fishing around. We're going to move up. We're getting up here. We came from the dam, right? Come up here. We're coming up this main pocket up here, and we're just going to see a lot of the same things that we saw on the other side. But the good news is it's all marked for you, so there's no guessing when you get out there. You got some pretty good rock going on right here. You've got a ramp right in there. This point looks somewhat interesting because it looks like it has some pretty good breaks to it. It's hard to tell by just looking here, but I mean, we could have marked 1,000 different of these rocky spots for you. So we tried to mark the primo ones, but obviously we didn't get them all marked. But right in here, this could be a really good point to fish around. There's another one of those little rock things right here. Lake Murray has a ton of this, where you just have these shelves that just drop off. So take a look at some of this stuff, because some of them may have some little ledges to fish around and things like that. So right there in that spot right there, we didn't mark it, but hey, if you're watching the video, you probably found a couple pretty good spots right there to take a look at. Now, as we move down here, we're going to see the same type thing again. So we've got these rock piles. We've got rock here, rock, more rock right in here. That looks like a good little area. Got some pretty good chunky area right in here around these docks. And then moving on up, as before we move into the channel up in here, let's just look right in here. We've got a pretty decent little hump that's out here. I can't see it right now, but I'm telling you that it's there, and we'll talk about it on the offshore spot as well. Another spot too that you may want to look at, again, can't mark them all, but definitely looks kind of interesting, would be right in here off the edge of this little point. Have some pretty good rock back in here behind that dock too. Then we're going to move it up. We've got some more rock all in here, so pretty good area right there. I kind of like that too, because I don't know where the creek channel is, but it appears that it either comes this way and swings this way, or let's see, let's just go look at the bank line, or it could come this way. I'm thinking more along the lines as it's coming here, and it's just kind of swinging down a little bit. So this could be more of a creek channel area with some pretty good rock. Got a, not a tiny little pinch point, but it's somewhat of a pinch point right in this area. So this whole area right in here is going to be a good area to go look around and see if you can find any fish in that area. Let's move on up. We talked about that rock being in there. I think I did. If not, let me zoom in, just show you. So it gets pretty good right in there. Then we're going to move up. We're going to come just south of this. I don't know if this is a railroad bridge or an actual Texana Road. So we're going to come down south of Texana Road, and just a few things here. Got some really good healthy rock going on back in here. Crankbait heaven back in here as well. Also shaky heads. And then as we move further back into this pocket, Now you don't see anything, you don't see anything, and then boom, here's the rock again. So we've got all that stuff marked for you. You got a lay down back here as well. The random lay down, the one, the only, maybe it's holding like 10 fish. That'll be like the magical lay down. And then as we move down, we get past this little it looks like Porum Landing recreational area. As you get down here and get away from those docks, right off the edge of this point. Now this point's got some pretty good riprap and rock around it as well. There's some rock out here off the edge, but it looks like it has these little piles that are out here. There's one right here. There's also one right here too that you could check out. And then we move down. We've got another boat ramp right here. We've got some rock around the boat ramp. Pretty shallow rock right there, but it's there. And then over here, here's where these piles start again. You got a random pile there, one there, and then another boat ramp. So really, you could start off this boat ramp, and you got some pretty good spots here. I mean, you can come up here, fish the boat ramp, hit these little rock piles, see if there's anything on them. If there is, then you can go out and you can hit this other rock pile because you know that they're on the rock piles. And then you can come over here and hit all of this as well. And then if that doesn't work, if the rock piles aren't on, then I'd say come up here, depending on the temperatures and everything like that, just possibly come up here and just see if you can find anything up here around these brush piles and this rock and stuff in here. But that's almost a full day of fishing just right there, checking out those areas. So let's move back in here. Let's talk about this. That ramp looks pretty good. And remember, I didn't mention it at the beginning of the video, but boat ramp pattern is a good pattern, and you've got some pretty good boat ramps here to fish. So as long as you're not in people's way, have a heyday and go try it out, because I'm telling you, those boat ramps will produce fish. They love those boat ramps. We've also got some more rock that's back in here. You got some right in here and right in here. That looks like it could be a swimming area, so it's right outside the swimming area. Not sure if these buoys right here might say that you can't get a boat in there, but if you could put your boat here and cast that way, that could be a good spot. Got a little creek coming out of there, a little ditch or something like that, a little overflow, so has some potential. Then, of course, always fishing around a bridge, especially a bridge like this where you've got it's pretty tight. It's a pretty tight pinch point. This is going to be a great place to find some fish. Just right around this bridge, all around it, right on both corners of it, the outside, out in here, on both sides as well, and see if you can find the channel. There should be some sort of a channel coming through here, and you should be able to figure it out and then really be able to locate the fish off of that channel. So let's keep moving up. I'm gonna ignore this stuff right here, although I really want to talk about it because we're staying off this side of the land, so I don't get confused here. Notice the water almost looks like it's frozen here. It's pretty crazy. It looks pretty darn cold in this image, but we've got a ramp back in here that doesn't really look too good. You've got some flats that are back in here. You got some really small creek channels we were able to find. Nothing too crazy back in here. You got we got those flats that are there. We've got a hump that's here, another hump that's out here. This looks like I could ice skate on it. And then move it up here. You got a pond. So I'd say fish around that pond dam, fish around the inside of it and the outside of it. Just be careful because it looks like there are a ton of stumps in this area. Everywhere you see this light white color is where there are stumps. So there are stumps everywhere. There's also an old bridge that's back here too that you could check out. Then moving back here, if you can get back in here again, you probably need like a John boat. I don't know how deep this gets back in here, but it doesn't look like it gets too deep. And it looks like it is, again, very stumpy. But it looks like you've got a bridge back in here possibly as well, and then another one of those ponds that are back here. So let's take a look at this because this is pretty far north, and let's just move this up to 2020. And of course, it's not going to give us a good image at all. So this is 2017, so it doesn't look as bad in 2017. That doesn't look very good at all. 10 of 17 looks pretty bad. Let's go back to 2014. So this is probably more like regular pool right in here. So you can see it's still pretty shallow, pretty muddy. So I don't know how good the fishing would be up in here. What we'll do is when we go down and we break it down in the Navionics mobile app, we'll really have a good idea of how deep this is and whether or not it's fishable water. But we've got the stuff marked anyways, just in case. So let's move this back to where we were. And let's keep coming down. Here's another pond that's over here on this side. So you could fish the inside or, again, the outside of that pond. That's going to be good areas to fish. And then moving down here, we talked about that hump that's out there, and we'll also cover it when we talk about the offshore hotspots. But this is the spot that I really wanted to get back to because I was telling you, if you launched here, you've got some pretty good options. One, you've got this nice point that comes out here, and you know you've got a channel coming right through here somewhere. You can't see it physically right now, but just based on the contours and what you're seeing here on the land, it's pretty obvious it's coming from somewhere, and it's coming really close to here, and that's why Oklahoma Wildlife put a fish attractor site right in here. Now I'm surprised I can't see it because that's their waypoint, and the water's almost to it. I wonder if maybe they put that in after 2017. Not sure, but either way, look at this point. It's sandy and then starts getting rocky right in here. It just looks gorgeous. Also right here, almost looks like it gets really rocky right in here, maybe even a possible ledge, and then another one of those fish attractor sites. So this spot is just money, 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 probably a lot of times of the year. So definitely do some exploring right in here. This looks like it could be a really good area to find some fish. Okay, so let's keep moving down. We're going to start moving back down the west side now. And we get down in here into these, of course, let me back up and kind of show you where we are. We were talking right there was Texana Road, right? So we're going to come down. And we're just going to talk about this little line of docks and stuff that we found on it. Really, it's more just rock piles. So if you take a look at this, we've just got some really good little rock ledges, little rock piles, all of that stuff. Now, most people are going to be up here fishing the docks, right? They're going to miss the good stuff is actually inside. It's on the inside of these docks. So make sure that if you come out here and you're fishing this, you get up on the inside of these things and fish around here. As long as the water's up high enough, hopefully the water has came up. I know we've been struggling here in Texas the last couple of years. This shows 2020. This is the latest image of 2020, so not really getting us up to current, but kind of shows you what it looks like when the water's up a little bit higher. All right, so let's go back to 2017, not 2014, and talk about what else we see down here. So some random laydowns. I think that's only the third or fourth laydown that we're actually able to pick up. So we've got those marked for you there. Got some more laydowns marked for you here too. So now we're getting into at least a few different areas where we've got some laydowns. They've got some really healthy rock right behind this dock right here. It just looks really, really good. Looks like it's got maybe even a nice little ledge right on it. So I would go check that out. And then moving out here, we got another hump. So we'll check out those. We'll talk about those and the offshore stuff, as well as you got a bridge that's out here. So you could check out this bridge. That looks like it could be in an interesting spot for sure. And I would check and see if you can find any cover around that area, or look and see if you can find a roadbed. You know, you have a road here that looks like it ended right here, but I don't know where that road would have picked up. But if that road ended here, maybe it curves this way, and then this is where it went over a bridge before it came into this point. No telling, but just scan that whole area and see if fish are attracting to any type of cover that's below the surface. So then let's move over here. We've also got another creek that comes back here. This one looks like a pretty decent little creek. And that looks like a money pond too. But anyways, here's the creek that comes down from those ponds. And it makes a pretty decent little creek channel, but it's should have some pretty good flow. And it really, if you look at it really closely, it looks like it slams right into these docks. So that puts these docks being more of a higher percentage area docks than most docks that would be out there. So I would take some time and come back in here and hit up these docks. These docks can be really good for you. We've also got some more laydowns, just random laydowns here. Got another one that's right here. Got some more that's right out here off of this point. Some more off this point. Got a little culvert that's back here. Now I couldn't see it when the water was down, so I don't know if it's still there, but it shows that it's there on Navionics. So we went ahead and left it there and left the mark there. We've also got some more laydowns coming on over in here. Now I don't really know if I like necessarily this area right in here that well. You know, I liked back in there by those docks. As far as fishing out here, I would really pay attention to where the river channel is. So there's got to be some type of a channel here or something. You know, it's probably coming up this way, so I'm probably going to be more apt to fish on this side as opposed to this side. That's not to say there aren't any fish on this side. I just feel like my percentages would be higher staying off onto the deeper side. All right, so let's keep moving on down. We're going to come down this little west bank line. Now we're back into the main lake. As you can see here, we started here at the dam. We worked all the way up there, and now we're back over here into the main lake. We got about 5 minutes left, so we'll see what we can cover here. But really like this right here. Check this out. All these laydowns out here, this big giant flat that's coming off the top of this point. I mean, that right there looks juice, juice, juice. Definitely a place I would love to fish. We've also got some laydowns down in here. These are really close to the bank line though, so I don't know if they're going to be worthy or not to fish. And then out here, you've got another one of those roads that's going to come out. And so you want to look around here and just see if there's anything out here. Sometimes those culverts are there, sometimes they're not. You just never know, but they're always worth checking out because sometimes you'll stumble across some that are really good at holding fish. So we're going to come here. We went down this bank line up in here in this little pocket. We didn't find anything from a Google Earth standpoint to really mark for you. The one thing I would point out is I would definitely fish around this thing, this little rock point that comes out. You just know there's going to be something hanging around that point. That's just bound to happen. And then coming back in here, you've got a little creek channel coming back in here. So maybe fishing around these docks and things where that creek's pumping out, that could add to your day. So then moving down here, we're going to go down. We're going to come down here, check out these bridges. See these bridges that are out here? Check them out because there's road beds out here as well that are connecting to those bridges. And those can be really good. It's just going to depend on the depth on where they're at. I'd say, this one may be too deep, but this one right in here could definitely be in play, and so could this one as well. This one may be too deep, but definitely worth looking at. As we move up in here in these pockets, we're not seeing too much up in here to really mark for you, but there is some stuff that's out here. There's some pretty good laydowns, some debris that's going on right in this area. You've also got some of this little shallow riprap that's right here. We didn't mark it for you, but definitely I would get up here. If the water was high enough, I'd get up here and get parallel to that, see if I could find anything up in there. Same thing up in here right off of this point, kind of like how that point sets up and you've got that little split. Anytime you get those points where you get those splits back into two coves, they're usually productive. So I would definitely get up in here, fish around that rock. You got some more laydowns back in here, nothing too crazy. A couple laydowns back in there behind those docks, and then some rock that's right out here, right in front of this dock that you could check out too. So let's move back up. Let's come back out. Let's talk about these little areas right in here. You've got a pretty decent little flat that comes up here, actually a pretty giant flat that's just right in here. This is an interesting spot. Can't really tell what in the world's going on, but maybe get up here and just throw a lipless crankbait or throw a shallow diving crankbait, or just see if there's anything up here just up on these flats feeding. You got some pretty decent little flats right there and a good little channel that's coming right through the middle of it. You got some laydowns here, some more laydowns over here as well. And then again, we've got these points that come out with these big flats on them. You've also got what appears to be some kind of a house foundation or something like that. So this spot right in here, Carolina rigging right in here. Yeah, I like it. We've also got a boat ramp back here. Some more flats that are out here you can check out. And then we've got some tires that are back here. You can see them right here. They're pretty healthy. These right here probably, I hope they would float, but we've got more that are even further out here. So depending on when you're there, those tires have been all over the place, but these consistently, as long as the water up, are staying underneath the water. Also, if you look at this image while we're talking about it, there's quite a bit of rock over here, right in this area right here. I like that. And right over here too, we didn't mark those, but those are two more areas that you could look at. All right, let's zoom back. Let's see if I can find a stopping spot. I think I can. I'll end at the edge of this point because there's only two more spots to show you here. Kind of show you where I'm at. Started at the dam. We've came down. We've almost finished this whole area right in here. But as we move into here, couple more spots I want you to check out. There's some rock right here. We're going to talk about this as an offshore spot, but I would definitely get in here and check these out. Get right in here, the back side of this thing, also the outsides right here as well. We're going to talk about it on the offshore stuff, but that's going to be a good spot to look at. You've got some humps that are out here too. Again, we'll talk about those and the offshore stuff. And then this spot right here, I don't know why I didn't mark it, but I definitely would fish this right in here. Well, I know I didn't mark because you can only mark so many things, but right here just looks really, really good. I like the way that sets up. In fact, I like it so much, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just create a new waypoint right there so that you guys have that, because I don't want you to miss that spot, because I think that looks like it has some pretty good potential for you guys. So let's keep moving down. We'll talk about one more. That's going to be that boat ramp that's right here. This one looks more of a community boat ramp, so those are always pretty good. And then make sure that when you're fishing that boat ramp, you come out here and you check out this rock kind of right through this area right here, right from basically just start the power lines and work your way back to that boat ramp. And I think that's going to be a good little spot to look at. So let's go ahead and stop there. When we come back on the next video, we'll keep going up this bank line as far as we can. Then we'll come back down the west side. We may be able to finish this area in 2 videos. We'll see when we come back. But anyways, make sure go check out my waypoints, simplisticfishing.com. You can get all the waypoints we talked about today, plus the offshore stuff. Put them all onto an SD card. You import that into your graph, and it will break the lake down for you right there in front of you. Makes it way easy to set up patterns and things like that. So go check it out. We have several lakes in Oklahoma. We have hundreds of lakes, not hundreds, but over 100 lakes in Texas broken down now as well. So go check it out, simplisticfishing.com. And make sure to go check out our partner, Omnia Fishing. The link is in the description below. Until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.